Battlefield 6 is an apology, and I'm here to talk about it. I have been no-lifing Battlefield 6 since launch, and I can confidently say it's the most fun I've had in an FPS in a very long time. And while the game is not perfect in its current state, it still manages to stand head and shoulders above many of the shooters that are out there today. I will admit it's been actually very hard to make this video because every night for the past week I've been hopping on this game with the boys and have been having a great time. But I'm here now, so let's do this. Before I start though, I just want to take a moment to appreciate how grounded Battlefield 6 is. I can't tell you how happy I was to fire up this game and see that there wasn't a battle pass or some in-game cash shop and no microtransactions outside of the deluxe edition upgrade. I'm not a sucker though, I know those things will probably show up eventually, but in the meantime they are not here. And the fact that they weren't here right on launch says a lot about where this game's priorities were. And you can also see where this game's priorities were based on how smooth this game's launch has been. Because other than waiting in a short queue for a few minutes, the game booted up perfectly, I had no crashes, no major bugs, and the game runs beautifully on my PC, which is nothing short of a miracle for a modern AAA release. Like, I have had literally zero issues with this game, which is absolutely shocking because many Battlefields have had historically bad launches. So I was just glad to see they were able to pull themselves together over there at Battlefield Studios to make sure history didn't repeat itself. I will say though, it is very sad that we're praising a studio for releasing a game that works and is not heavily monetized. This used to be the gold standard back in the day, but now when a AAA studio drops a game that's fun and it works and it's not a cash grab, it's treated like a massive win. Which, I mean, hey, you know, I'll still take the W, but it is sad. I just think EA knew they needed a grand slam here, and the only way they were going to get it was by taking their time, listening to players, and giving them what they actually wanted, for the most part. I say for the most part because this game does have its fair share of issues, specifically with things like map sizes, some pretty big balancing problems, and a fairly light amount of content. It's not a terrible amount, but there should absolutely be more. Regardless though, none of that has stopped me from having an incredible time with the game, because Battlefield 6 does far more right than it does wrong. It goes back to the basics and nails the fundamentals. It's got tight movement, sharp gunplay, straightforward progression, a solid weapon customization system, and of course that signature Battlefield destruction. All of this combines to create that chaotic and unpredictable moment-to-moment gameplay that the series is known for, and that's exactly what the franchise needed after the disaster that was Battlefield 2042. That game single-handedly tanked the franchise's reputation because it was a huge step back from previous Battlefields in almost every way possible. It was kind of hard to even call it a Battlefield game, but that's what they called it. If the Battlefield franchise was a set of white bed sheets, 2042 was a pile of dog shit that was smeared across them. And now Battlefield 6 is cleaning those stains with bleach. This game feels like an apology from DICE and EA to the fans as a way to earn back our trust and support. And whether you like the game or not, the apology is working and is theoretically only going to get sweeter, because it's pretty much guaranteed that over time, this game will be getting new maps, weapons, vehicles, modes, plus whatever community creations come out of Portal. And fuck, I haven't even mentioned the Battle Royale yet. The Battle Royale isn't something I necessarily care about, but if it's good, that's another huge W for the game. And even if it does suck, I'm sure someone will make a better mode in the Portal Creator. Portal Creator is a massive W, by the way, like huge, so don't sleep on that. And sure, again, this is all theoretical, but with the player first mentality DICE and EA have shown so far, nothing is leading me to believe that they'll screw it up in the long run. At least I hope. Who knows, there is a chance they can come out with all this content and it just blows. There is always that possibility. Moving on to another big reason for this game's success that I don't see many people talking about is its timing. This game is filling a massive void that is currently in the FPS world right now. Call of Duty is a joke, Halo's been buried by 343, Killzone is long gone, and Titanfall, well, it's never coming back, let's just face it. So this was the perfect time for Battlefield 6 to step up and give us a grounded, classic military shooter. It is, of course, a safer approach that doesn't necessarily reinvent the wheel, but in today's gaming landscape, it somehow still manages to be that breath of fresh air. And I honestly can't think of another non-Battle Royale FPS right now that has as much long-term potential as BF6. Like I said before, they have the golden ticket, and now they just gotta turn it in. All of that glazing aside though, I do actually want to address two major concerns that I want to see the game fix moving forward. One of the biggest complaints that I and many others have about the game is that the majority of the launch maps are just too small, plain and simple, which is a shame because the maps themselves aren't bad, except Sobek City. That map sucks dick. The rest of them though are actually pretty good. I just wish they were bigger. And it's not just because I'm Battlefield fan so maps should be big, it's because I think Battlefield genuinely benefits from having larger maps. It is obvious why they started off with so many small maps on launch, and that's to appeal to a new wave of players. And the smaller maps provide a much more engaging experience and exciting moment-to-moment gameplay. But if you really think about it, the small maps are kind of a double-edged sword. Yes, right now the maps are absolutely fun, chaotic, and very action-oriented, but in the long term, I don't know how well they're gonna hold up. Will they still be fun on the 50th or 100th time you play them? I guess we'll see. And as for the other three maps that are considered the larger and more Battlefieldy maps, one actually being a remake from an older Battlefield game, are pretty decent, and I don't have too many complaints about them. I will say though, one thing that makes these maps way better is the fact that they serve as a breather and offer a slower paced experience in between the maps that are more chaotic and high octane. Going from a map like Siege of Cairo into a map like Operation Firestorm is like water for my brain, because I'm not in a constant MLG sweat mode just to stay alive. I also do want to say that I understand why longtime fans of the franchise hate a lot of these newer maps. I mean, to an average and more casual player, the maps are probably a decent size, but to a true Battlefield fan, the maps are very tiny, which is kind of a big deal because it does completely change the way the game is played on a fundamental level, which is why moving forward, I absolutely think the first like 3 to 4 maps they add need to be on the larger side in order to improve the overall flow and pacing of the game. And hopefully in time, these additional maps can help Battlefield 6 strike a balance where they can cater to players that enjoy a faster gameplay experience and those who enjoy a slower one. And speaking of balance, that is my second biggest complaint about this game in its current state. It does have some serious weapon and class balancing issues, as well as bugs in the game's gunplay. And I'll cover this quickly because this stuff is subject to change since they said they were working on fixing a majority of these issues. But I'll start by talking about the weapons in the current state of the game. Right now, LMGs and SMGs are too strong. They're laser accurate, barely have any recoil, and can kill you from absolutely diabolical ranges. I'm fine getting melted by an SMG up close or an LMG at mid-range, but when I get beamed from 100 meters away by something with no recoil, that's when it feels broken. And there's no reason people should be choosing an SMG or an LMG over a carbine or an assault rifle at long range. This is also only a problem with a select few SMGs and LMGs, so while it's annoying, it's somewhat bearable. Again, I just don't think these types of guns should have the power that they do at long distances. I've also seen some people complain about snipers and that attachment that takes away bullet drop, and while in theory that's pretty fucking stupid since bullet drop is such a big part of the game, I haven't found it too troublesome. I mean, yeah, there's definitely matches where I get absolutely clapped by snipers, but that's just part of the game. But anyways, let's move on to the most annoying problem in the game, and that is hit registration and netcode. Sometimes the bullets you fire in this game straight up just do not count. You can unload half a mag into someone, they turn around and kill you in 4 bullets, and they still walk away with 60% health. And that right there feels like rock bottom. Or another example I'm sure many can relate to is when you're getting shot at, you run for cover, you make it to cover, but somehow still die after you're behind a wall. That's the kind of thing that makes me question life, and they just straight up need to fix it. Also, when your bullets don't count, it becomes very unfortunate when you're using a gun that only has a clip of like 16 or 20 bullets. That's a huge kick in the balls. And lastly, I want to give a breakdown on what I think about the updated classes in BF6. The assault class in this game is almost useless to the team, because other than the occasionally well-placed ladder, I just don't find assault doing much for anyone else other than themselves. I've never once said to myself, thank God that guy switched to Assault. The support class, on the other hand, is what Jesus Christ would be in soldier form. The fact that it can supply health, supply ammo, and revive people at an ungodly rate makes the class feel a little bit OP. Oh, and I forgot to mention, this class can also unlock a grenade launcher gadget that somehow one-hits enemies more often than a rocket launcher can, which is a load of goddamn barnacles. Anyways, moving on to what I mainly play, and that's the engineer class. I wouldn't say there's much too OP or too underwhelming about this class. I do wish SMGs weren't engineer's signature weapon, and I do think the RPG needs a slight nerf to the amount of damage it does to helicopters and jets. Also, sometimes my acoustic tank mine doesn't work, which pisses me off. Like a tank could stroll up right next to that sensor mine, and it just sits there doing nothing. Like I might as well have placed a box of donuts on the damn floor. And as for recon, well, I can't really speak on that because I almost never touch that class. And that's about it for my main complaints about the game. One more small complaint I did forget to mention though, is that the game's UI is pretty ass. It's hard to find certain things, there's submenus in submenus, and it just gets tedious to go through. Minor complaint, but still worth mentioning. With all of that said though, I still think Battlefield 6 is a great game and has a bright future moving forward. It does have some issues to iron out, but if they support this game correctly and keep listening to community feedback, the game is only going to improve and get better with time. Even in this game's current state, it has now become a staple in my game rotation, and I don't see it leaving anytime soon. So if this is EA and DICE's apology to players, I think I'll gladly accept it, for now. Because there still is a chance they could just fuck it up in the future. But anyways, that's it for me though. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more content like this, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Keep going, Chris. We're repairing you. Keep going. Keep it going.
God, oh God, oh God, oh God.
Are we here? We're getting C. We're getting C.
Two guys over here.
Oh shit. Alright, they're fucking lighting me up over here. Oh, okay. Alright, we're getting hit from all angles now.